If you are enjoying this Miami vlog so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can get a notification every time we post. Enjoy day 3. What's going on, everybody? YL from rebelears.com here again, and welcome to day 3 of the Miami vlog. So if you've been paying attention and kind of keeping up with what's going on, the first day we had to set up a couple breakout rooms. We flew in that morning, went and set up, checked in. The view of my hotel room was amazing. The view from outside the hotel is amazing. They got a lagoon. We're on the water. Everything is lovely. Day 2 of the Miami vlog, we had to actually set up for the room you are looking at right now. All right. So I showed you guys some of the setup. The setup took about maybe like 10 hours total, just from testing lines and adding some last minute things, the things that come with events. All right. So today is the first day of the actual show in the general session. And as you can see, I'm at my console. I'm geared up, ready to go. You can actually see some signal moving and grooving. Right now, somebody's at the podium speaking. As you can see, if you look at the very first channel, where you see that green light and that orange light on the console, that is my podium mic. All right. So what you're seeing is that orange button is the on button. So that means I am unmuted, right? That means the microphone is on. You're seeing signal here at the very top up there. That is basically the signal coming from the microphone. I have my tablet, my iPad to the side over here. In this circumstance, we didn't know a lot about the event going into it, so I had to just be as flexible as possible. So what I did, I had my iPad to look at all of my outputs, right? And then that way I can have all of my inputs on my console. Now, I know what some of you engineers are going to say, well, why don't you just create a custom layer? The reason I did not create a custom layer is you will see that later on in this week that all of this is going to change. All right. Of course, I can save my show. Of course, I can build my custom layer, but it was a lot going on. And to be honest, I would have needed more than 16 faders for a custom layer. All right. I only have 16 faders available on this Yamaha TF1. So I would have needed all 7 of my inputs, 9 of my inputs, and I would have needed all 9 of my outputs as well. All right. So my inputs consisted of 6 microphones. I had one podium mic. We had a lavalier mic. So that lavalier mic was basically a clip-on mic just in case anybody wanted to work the crowd, move around. No one really used it. Mostly the speaking was done at the podium. All right. Then I had 4 handheld mics that went on for Q&A, for panels, anything of that nature. All right. I also had a feed coming from our video guy, who basically, as you can see now, if you look at the projection screen, you will see that there's a video playing on the screen now. That is the signal you are looking at. I'm actually EQing this video. This is something that's part of live sound I will touch on in a little minute. This is the part that where the work cuts in at, right? So anyway, outside of that, I had that video feed. That was input number 7. I had 2 feeds also coming from one of our clients that was controlling some music and some other things as well and helping call the show. All right, so that was 9 inputs. And then I also, as you can see, have my laptop. I had a left and right signal as well from my laptop, because I was also playing music out in the lobby, and sometimes I was responsible for playing music in this room as well. All right, my outputs consisted of, I had 9 outputs total. My outputs consisted of, I had front fields, I had fold back, I had subs, of course. I had Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 record feeds, 2 separate left right feeds, and then 1 mono feed, right? So that already gives us 8 outputs. And then I had a whole lobby feed that I had to send out to the lobby into a green room as well. So I had a lot going on. I could not just create a custom layer. I would still be having to add more to a different layer if I wanted to customize it. So it was easier to look at my 16 channels here. I can see all of my inputs. As you can see, it's 12 total. And then for my outputs, I can see that all on my iPad. All right, so I just wanted to explain that to you guys. So as you can see right here, what's happening, I just cut the podium mic back on and I cut the video off. So what happens in live sound, and this is, well, like I said, where the work comes in at, it's never a just sit there and relax type of vibe in this type of situation. Sometimes we are blessed enough to just sit and babysit and just make sure levels are good. If you're really good at ringing out a room, which I'm pretty decent, I'm pretty good at it. I don't really deal with feedback issues, so that's never really an issue for me. The main work is always making sure that things are running smoothly, right? Especially when you're recording audio. So 5 of my outputs were record feeds. This is going to camera feeds. This is going to record streaming decks and all of this, right? So what you seen me do earlier, so when the video plays, you also have to make sure that it's at a decent volume. So you'll ride faders a lot. You'll turn inputs and outputs down a lot, up and down a lot. You'll do a lot of EQing, right? So when the video plays, I have to turn the video up a little bit because it's all the videos sound different, right? And that's just normal. You're pulling videos from different sources. They're recorded on different sources as well. So they're going to sound different. Some videos are going to have a really bad low end. Some videos are going to be really loud. Some videos are going to have a really, harsh mid to high range on the vocals because, they might be recording it on their phone or however, right? So the work is knowing how to keep everything level, knowing how to keep everything sounding smooth, right? You don't want to go from one person sounding super loud on the mic and then the next person is just super low. A lot of the times it do have a lot to do with the actual presenter. Some presenters really know how to project their voice. They know how to actually aim their mouth into the microphone. Some don't, but it is still your job to be able to match those levels. So you're going to ride faders. You're going to turn faders up when this particular presenter is up speaking. Like if it's a man speaking at the podium, and this is the tricky part about the podiums, right? Because for handhelds and lavalier mics, like if I have lavalier mics, sometimes I might have 6 to 8 lavalier mics, right? And everybody has a lavalier. Everyone has a clip on. That's their personal mic. So when I EQ their mic as they're talking, I won't have to go back through later on in the show and EQ it. With a podium mic, you got 20 people in one setting walking up and down from this podium. Some people have really, really deep voices. Some people have really high-pitched voices. You have women, you have men. So every time someone gets up at the podium, you have to adjust your levels. You have to adjust pretty much your EQs. You have to adjust everything about it. It's never just sit back and listen, because if you're a good engineer, your ear is going to start hearing things that you don't want to hear. And other people might not be bothered by it, but you will. So you're going to force yourself to make sure you're getting a good sound. When I'm listening to a speaker speak, I've been doing this long enough to know that that is way too much low end on that live vocal. He's not singing. He's talking. He's speaking. That's way too much high end. That's way too much compression. That's way too much, whatever it is. That's not enough of whatever it is, right? So that is where the work comes in, and it's constant. You're constantly checking record feeds. As you guys can see, a lot of the times I wear a headset. That headset is to make sure that we are able to catch cues, right? So, in that headset, somebody is saying video playing in 3, 2, then I cut my video track on, because I never have tracks on. As you can see, It's only one track on right now, and that's my first track, my podium mic. Every other input is muted. Why? Because I don't know if the video guy is doing something else on his computer. If I have that video track running hot the whole show, whatever he's doing on his computer is going to come out of those speakers. Even more so, it's going to play in whatever record feeds that we have, and that won't be able to be edited out, right? You want clean record feeds when you're an audio guy. This is the meat and the stress of the industry. As you guys can see, I'm listening for whoever's telling me whatever they're telling me. They're talking to me now. If you see that kind of blank stare out in my eyes and stuff like that, that means I'm actually listening to what's going on. And people, as you can see, people are constantly moving back and forth. You have a lot of moving parts to these shows. I have people in my ear in the headphones, and I also have people out in the audience coming out and saying, hey, can you turn it up just a little bit more, so it can hit the back of the room. Or as you can see where I'm sitting, way off to the side, I'm not sitting in the middle of the room where my PA is. So as you can see, I got 2 tops on each side of the stage and 2 subs as well. Subs are only for, videos and music. I don't ever put vocals in the subs, even when I'm dealing with bands. So, really simple show, but it was a lot of moving parts. And like I said, we didn't have a lot of information about it. There were no rehearsals. So we were winging it. And that's pretty much 60% of your job when you are contracting. You're working in different venues all the time with different clients, with different companies, with different crews. So, everything changes. But that is where you build your skill level. This type of industry and this type of field of being an audio engineer, even in the studio, is all situational. That's where you get the meat and the bulk of your experience. What have you been through? What different scenarios have you had to navigate through? Because audio is the same. The process is the same. Your ear is what it is. You can produce good audio. You can produce good audio. But can you do it under all of these different circumstances? So that is the benefit, I would say the pros and the cons of, being a contractor. All right. So really easy, man. This is day 3. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm doing the voiceover of it. Of course, I couldn't be talking to the camera in the middle of the show, and I'm actually trying to work. All right. So levels were great. Record levels were great. Right after this, we actually had to change this whole room up. So stay tuned for day 4. It's a lot of moving parts, right? Like I said, I had about 5 different audio setups in this week of work. We started out with breakout rooms first day. Second day, we set up this room right here. Third day, we actually ran this room. And later on that night, we actually changed this room. So before we went to our rooms to go to sleep and to get some rest, we actually had to change this big room that we're looking at. We had to turn this into 3 small rooms. And at the same time, keep the lobby the way it is, keep the green room the way it is. It was a task, but we had a game plan. And shout out to the company that hired me. The guys they sent me down there with were amazing. They made me feel really welcome. They were knowledgeable, and we made it work, man. It was only 3 of us, and we had the help from some local labor in Miami, but it was 3 of us running the show, man. And it turned out really, really well. It's been a long time since I've been on the road for work, and I'm just grateful that this was the company I decided to do it with. And, I had a great time. It was a great experience. So shout out to day 3. Stay tuned for day 4. I want to show you guys how crazy this thing gets. I have some bonus footage as well. We did a party, and we also did a karaoke night where I'm using this Soundcraft stage box and a tablet and an iPad to do all my mixing for the band and for the music. So stay tuned. I'm gonna drop some bonus footage on that. Day 4 coming soon. You guys will see how we flip this big room into 3 small rooms. And until next time, refuse to sound ordinary. Thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you'll know every time we post. Refuse to sound ordinary.